it's all good. It's all good. We're meeting. It's a snowy day. If we didn't have Zoom, we would not be able to meet. So this is great. So, and we have some things to talk about, but we should be in and out in our hours. So it's good.
Mhm.
Meeting notes again. Donna, you did a great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody read them. Anybody have any additions, changes, anything? Nope. So is there a motion to approve?
I motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Good job, Warren.
The second?
Sure.
Warren.
Warren.
Okay.
All right. So all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good. All right, let's jump down. Everybody saw the new PowerPoint, I believe. And so we're not going to go over it virtually today. You know, I know when I initially sent it out, I said we're going to try to do a dry run. That's not going to happen, but we would like it to happen down the road. Kristen and I met, Zoomed. I guess you do. Do you meet or do you Zoom? Either way, and went over and figured out how to make it work. And as afraid of it as I was, I think it's a really, really valid option. But I want us to go through it together to see what you guys think. Okay, and I want Susie to come in as well. And I haven't, not quite sure how 100% Susie is on board. She's willing, but so it just didn't happen tonight. So any other comments on the PowerPoint? Any?
I thought it looked really great. I want to thank all of you. Really fantastic, very professional. And ironically, I saw Susie when I got my dog, and she just sent me an email touching base. So anybody who has businesses is probably feeling that pain. So I'm sure she'd be grateful for any kind of contact with the community at this point. So that's just my suspicion, but thank you.
Well, and the good thing is that she is doing virtual training. So I think that it should be a smooth transition for her, but I'm not going to put words in her mouth. And Kristen, you and I figured out, Kristen was wonderful, you all, I have to say. You know, she was like, look, we can do this and this, and as a facilitator, you know, whoever's doing the presenting would just have to worry about presenting. And then with the facilitator like Kristen or whoever else would want to do that could take care of the behind the scenes things. So it's simple and a good option. So the next thing would be shooting out an email sometime between now and the next meeting and saying, hey, does anybody have an hour to, you know, do a dry run of this virtual orientation? I think. You guys okay with that? What do you think?
I
Sounds
am.
good.
That's good.
That's great.
Okay. All right. So that's, could you see Deb on that last slide?
No, I couldn't.
Yes, several pictures of
Looked
Deb.
good. I looked good. The dogs looked better.
Right.
She was in a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were limited on extras.
Well, if you all remember, that was that freezing cold. I mean, half of it was that day that we didn't know to hold the camera this way instead of this way. And we went out there and froze all morning and couldn't use that. But the point was to get the new dog park in there and to have it so that we can address issues, change it as we need to address the current issues that are going on. So that's that. Okay.
And maybe just a couple things on the virtual training aspect. We talked about having the facilitator engaged, and they would be basically managing the room, getting people into the meeting. They would also be managing the chat. Sometimes in some of the meetings I've been in, there's been someone just doing that portion and the presenter was just presenting. So if there was an important point or a website shared or something like that, the facilitator would put that in the chat. Other things that Kathy and I talked about is engaging the audience as much as possible via Zoom. And one of the ways that we thought about like right off the bat is, hey, in the chat, what's your dog's name? Or are you a large dog or are you a small dog? And just trickle those kind of things into the presentation, and kind of like something comes up and it's like large dog area, small dog area. Oh, throw in the chat. Do you have a large dog or do you have a small dog? Just to kind of keep people engaged throughout the presentation and paying attention. So there's a couple
that's
things
good.
we thought about.
Good idea. Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
Kristen, you
Yeah.
talked about engagement. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Was there a page with the app to download? Is that listed on anywhere on that?
No, good.
Is that when you
Good
say
call.
engagement, like when people love that, I thank you when Kristen said that, because I read it too. I thought it was great, but I just thought of it. I know I often look to see who Lucy's going to play with. So
Mhm.
yeah, sorry. I just thought of that.
Oh, that's a good call there.
Yeah.
Really good call. Yeah, totally forgot it. So awesome. Yeah, thanks. Anything else? See, and I had already, I mean, Kristen came up with all these great ideas that truly make it almost an interactive type setting, which I hadn't thought of at all. So thank you so much, Kristen. And that gives other people the opportunity to do that too. So it's not just you, right? It's not just Kristen. Other people can be the behind the scenes.
Yeah, for sure. Anybody who wanted to help out and learn the medium, and sure, why not?
I even caught on. I mean, so
I think people will actually really appreciate it. As I had mentioned to Kathy, we're getting feedback in Park and Rec world, not just Doylestown, but with my colleagues, that people are really enjoying the opportunity to have virtual. It's making their lives a lot easy, and we're finding that the feedback is, it's probably not going to go away. At some level, people will come back together, but they do like having that option.
So moving forward, we're going to work on that. Okay. Anything else on that? Survey, Caitlin. And it's so good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you. Can I share my screen?
Sure.
Is that okay?
Thank you. I am learning to be a facilitator, so bear with me here.
Oh, I think I can just do it. I just wanted to.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't.
it's disabled participant screen sharing.
I don't have security raise hand recording.
Probably if you click my name, you might be able to make presenter.
Yeah.
There's that bottom share screen. Kate, you can't do that.
I don't
think
see
If
it.
I click it, it says it's disabled.
I think you have to click on participants, Karen, and
Okay.
then enable her that way when you see her name.
Okay, I can do that.
We just did this at another meeting.
Oh, you computer geniuses.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I apologize, especially since we're recording. Allow to record, multi-plan, put in waiting room, remove. Do not have a share the screen option.
Make presenter. Change presenter.
Stop video chat, spotlight for everyone, make host.
There you go.
Okay. We'll give it a go, see what happens. Do you want to change the host to Caitlin Stack? Okay,
There we go.
there
Great.
you go.
Okay.
Oh, something's
So I've
happening.
put together.
Wow.
Can you guys see that? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Great. So I put this together on the results. I also have the full export of the results that I'll send to everybody after this. Since I've been, I think, the only one to look at it, I want to preface it with, there will be answers in here that will annoy you, and that I'm sure are frustrating. So I'm going to try to, but there's also a lot of good stuff in here too. So just, if you can, do your best to let me get through it, and then we can talk about because almost right off the bat, you'll be like, but we don't, it's a law, it's a rule. So you'll see.
Okay.
So we had 120 people total respond, which is great. I never have that many people respond to surveys.
How many were sent out?
It was sent out to everyone who has an email address, so I don't know the total. No, I didn't send the link,
Okay.
but I imagine anyone who's a member who gets an email received it.
Yes, as you recall, when you sign up for your account, sorry, Kristen, or Caitlin, there is, you have the ability by law to opt out of correspondence, and we don't have the right to change that. So whoever is opted in will get the materials from us.
So our first question, how long have you been a member? Majority of people have been around for a long time, well over a year, some more than 3 years. So that's good to see that membership is retained over time with the people who have responded. I also think the people who respond to these surveys are more likely to be longstanding members who want their opinions heard. So keep that in mind too. Like if you're happy with the dog park, you might just, I'm not going to fill out that survey. So how often do you come to the dog park? The majority of people come relatively infrequently, but most people come between a few times a month and a week, so once a week. So I think that's kind of what we expected. I would put myself in the infrequent bucket just because I haven't been that much this year, weather, COVID, everything else. So big difference here, but good percentages in all categories, or in the top categories. Most people use the big dog area, or more people, and bring just one dog. For the people that, again, the people who answered the survey. Which would track with the few times I've been there lately. There's not been little dogs. And then for length of stay, most people are staying between 30, half an hour and an hour, which again, I think is what we would expect if you're there much longer. My dog used to have more tolerance to be there, and now our visits are much shorter. So this question, just, are you aware of the app? It looks like most people are aware of the app.
Oh, that's encouraging.
Yeah, but use it less frequently. I do think one of our takeaways from this is that we could send out a link that includes the app for everybody as a reminder. There will be some responses later where you see that people know about the app, but think people don't use it enough. They're disappointed when they get there and there are no dogs and all that jazz. So varying reasons, you could select any of these of why you come to the park. In the comments later, dog socialization and dog exercise were pretty big, and having the space for the dog to run around was also a big response of why they like the park. So now a couple 1 to 5, how do you rate the park? These were big responses later as well. Most, the orange color is strongly agree that the park is clean, safe for the dogs, well maintained, and safe for members. So only a few people giving 4s, and then a few with the 1s, and I'm fairly confident that those same people gave us written comments coming up. So
Okay.
But the majority, again, landing in 5 and 4. Same question. They think it's easy to become a member. We get a little more 2s and 3s. Easy to maintain your membership, same. And then a place I would recommend, lots of 5s there. A little more of a spread on the 2 left questions. So for this next bit on how you would rate it, these are questions that people could have filled in the blank on any of those previous rating on 1 to 5. So I'm not going to like read them all out loud to you, but I wanted to include the majority of them on the next couple slides. So a lot of people really love it, appreciate it. There are some negative comments. Most of the negative comments also come with positive comments. So the park is beautiful and well maintained. I do find there are helicopter members, so that kind of thing. You are going to see one of the recurring themes I took away, which I don't know if there's anything we can do to address it, but a lot of complaints and or comments about parking in various ways. So that's something that I think no matter how it's addressed, it probably needs to be addressed overall. Some good observations as well, just a couple of things about maybe moving the trash can. Some people want to attend monthly meetings. I believe they mean our board meetings. More park gatherings. There were some requests for more community engagement, which of course has been hard this year, but yeah, some recurring negatives about water access and parking. I have another page. This is more complaining about the size.
That would be me.
Restrictions. Is this okay?
That would be me. Like when you're looking at a 30-pound dog and a 120-pound dog, I do see people who get nervous. And Lucy's not aggressive, but it's, yeah. I think I mentioned that to Karen before. That split can be scary for the smaller dog.
Yeah, there were some requests for a medium-sized park or medium section. So, but I do understand that there are other, you know, we talk about this, there are other ways to remedy that, you know, go at certain times when you know those dogs aren't around. So,
right.
I
Again,
love
a little
that
more-
people actually commented. I mean, I think this is great that they actually took the time to comment.
There are loads of comments. Yes, people really wanted to be heard. More requests about using the app, shade, pool, water access, some stuff about that. And then also, I'm pointing out some of the negatives, but there are a lot of good comments in here too. You know, some people would put there was nothing they had to add. You know, they love it. They love the place, the space, the people, everything. Yeah. Again, parking. And maybe just some, I think all things we've heard before. I don't think there was anything new added in here. Like I said, I'll send this presentation and an export of all of the answers in detail. These I quoted directly because I didn't want to paraphrase later on. I do some paraphrasing. So that's more of the same. So I'm just gonna go ahead. So this was a section on how often people perceive the rules to be followed. So only registered members and registered dogs are in the park. Most people said they perceive this rule to almost always be followed, or a 4, nothing with a never sometimes. Access to others, non-members and non-working key fobs are not permitted access. Again, most people agree with this statement, but there are some of those outliers. And we know this to be true too, that people have opened the gates or reached around, although I think a lot of work has been done to prevent that from happening. So the children under 14 are not allowed inside the park. Again, the outliers where we know that this sometimes happens, but most people see the rule as being followed. The majority of people are seeing the rules being followed for the small and large dog areas, with just a couple of outs. I'm always surprised with this almost never happens, because I've never seen that to be just like, it happens most of the time. I've seen a couple of times where it doesn't happen, but nothing, but almost never happens. So. Members required to clean up after their dogs. Again, we know this to be true. There were some complaints about this. The biggest one where we saw a drop in the fives of it always being followed is this next one. Members must accompany and monitor dogs closely. I think we probably know this is the easiest place where people slip up, because they start talking or they turn around or they look at their phone, and we know things happen, and usually it doesn't result in anything bad happening, but it's still not following the rules. We want to make sure people are paying attention. Complying with leashing, again, 4s and 5s. So here in this next question, you see a bigger spread. Again, this is because there have been a lot of complaints about parking. And then one of the takeaways I think you'll see as well is about dogs misbehaving and following orientation rules. A lot of comments about and people saying, oh, well, I used to come, but, you know, this person hurt, you know, was bad, and now I don't come, and I wish there was something that could be done. And I would guess with a lot of certainty that those people don't submit incident reports. So it might be worth reminding people too, like, you know, if you're worried about this, this is why we have incident reports. We don't want you to cease membership. There's someone who specifically calls out a dog later that bit their dog and what happened about this. But I don't remember reading the incident report, so maybe I missed it. But so some comments on the rules. There are a lot of things in here. There are, again, some stuff with parking. Some complaints about the kids under 14 not being allowed in like the pavilion area. Bringing more, and again, things like bringing more dogs. You know, again, if these are things that need to be reported, don't just complain. You know, we're not there to constantly keep the rules in place. They're member enforced rules as well. Big long complaint here about the board being controlling. I'll read. That's a long one.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's definitely some complaints in here. And I think there are some things that we can easily address as well. You know, using the app to know when you should be attending. When they have questions about, there's someone somewhere who asks about using the fob to exit, and you know, we have an answer there. It's a fire. You can't use a fob to exit. That's a fire hazard, like, or a safety hazard. All sorts of that stuff. And some of these things, so here's the one, G, you'll see the specific complaint about their dog being badly bitten by a 3-legged black lab, and the owners did nothing about it. I don't remember reading an incident report to that effect.
No.
You know,
No, we didn't, but we only have one 3-legged black lab.
well, but
I figured, but if they don't let us know,
he.
I
Yeah,
think
that's
people
it.
don't want to rat each other out because they're trying to be social.
yeah, they'd rather that it be self-contained and the
But-
owner do something
Right.
about it, but
Right, or they leave. Like, I don't tell people right away I'm on the board, and then if they're
Yeah.
doggies, maybe not, then I'll say, I know we may have a problem, there's cameras watching, but I don't say like, you gotta leave. I try and be nice about it because, and there's some dogs who are just naturally aggressive, and some people are like, my dog's gotta learn how to deal with all kinds of dog personalities, and other people like, I'm not having anything, I'm not having it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and when if your dog is naturally aggressive, a dog park, which you would go over in orientation, isn't the right place for you to begin with.
But I'm just saying, they're
And
just like
that's-
that
yeah.
dog that's always in your business. Not, when I say aggressive, I
Yeah,
just mean,
that's different. Yeah, that's nosy.
they're just
a nosy
like
dog.
in their business all the time. That's what I mean.
Right, right.
and certain
Right.
dogs, my dogs
A bad cocktail
get
party.
along well with 99 out of 100, but
Right.
then that one dog comes in and they don't get along great. So you have to kind of understand what it is.
Yeah. Well, and I think that goes back to the comments about the social cues. We give you all this information and ammunition
Mhm.
at the park. The park rules are standard for 99% of the parks. So, I mean, if you're not going to watch your dog, then that's on you. We're not there to be the park police, but we are there to try to create a safe environment.
Hey, Karen, do we have
Yipper.
anything on our website like, hey, has this ever happened to you at the dog park? Here's what you to think about. Or questions you can ask Susie, or like a little like Q&A kind of frequently asked question thing that maybe we could add to the website. That
We could probably add something.
inviting, because I mean, I think the two things that I hear is the social piece. People are looking to be more social, and they're disappointed when there aren't dogs there. And to the
Right.
park, and obviously the parking. But then there's that little, like, let it be educational, like frequently asked questions. Hey, you ever to the dog park and this happened? Or, like
Mhm.
if you have a big dog, why don't you just I bring my own cooler, and not jugs of water, but the cooler, and she drinks right out of it. Like,
Right.
and all the other
Yeah,
dogs
there-
too. But
there
I'm
are
just
a
saying
lot
of
little
parks
that
fun,
don't-
whatever, something fun and friendly.
There are a lot of parks that don't provide water at all. So, so I mean, it's not unexpected. I mean, there's always, they're happy people are happy, and there are people that are happiest when they're complaining. That's, they're the two biggest opposite ends of the spectrum. And then most people live in between. And,
Yeah, I'm not talking about the complaints. I'm thinking about
Yeah.
from a marketing perspective. I know
yeah,
Kathy's had that on her
So
head.
I'll show you what's next too, because it summarizes so there are a lot of comments that go around here, but
sure.
it's a little hard to see. I apologize. But I kind of summarized, I kind of just put in a spreadsheet what I saw repeated over and over again in the
Right.
comments. So this is what they think we're doing well. A lot of comments that the park is well maintained, that they really like the size, that they think it's very safe, socialization with other dogs, exercise for dogs. They like the people. They think it's a good registration process. They like that there's grass and that there's a rotation area. So this is what people,
Right.
there's a lot of positive
Okay.
stuff here too. But then there are some negatives that we might not be able to fix, but I think we can address, whether it's with maybe semi-annual newsletter or something. There were a couple of suggestions for that, or requests for that, is why I say it. So then here are just some, there were 92 responses total. I just singled out a few that, and you guys can read them in their in totality later, but you know, it's a pleasure. We love going. It's so clean. It's beautiful. We love the people. It's safe. Thank you, thank you, thank you, that kind of stuff. So I want to make sure that that's in here too.
Right.
But we're looking for some of the other feedback as well. So here's, according to the comments, what they think we could do better. Again, a lot of parking complaints, requests for water, requests for lights, more seating. Along with the seating was like shade, more community engagement, so like a newsletter or events at the park. Again, kind of tough this year. Requests for toys or more structures for the dogs to play on. And then 2 price complaints, which I think are stupid, but are in there. Like, it's so safe and clean and everything else. And I'm like, yeah, and you paid for that, so thanks.
I think there may be some seniors who may not have a handicapped
Yeah.
tag.
Yeah, and so that's,
But I think there's
So
a
the-
struggle sometimes with the walk.
So,
Well, and if you're a senior and you have trouble walking, all you have to do is talk to your doctor. Your doctor will make arrangements for that.
There's a pride piece. I just think there needs, I don't know. I just
But
think,
that's what they should do, because you have to
Well,
remember too,
well,
that
we
once you
can't
open the
tell
can of worms.
people, we can't tell people what to do. We can say this is typically, I just think it may be something, maybe we can be creative. Maybe we can give away like, you know, you were like the stellar dog park member and you get a free pass to park in a board spot.
And we used to do that. We
Make
used
it
to have
fun.
the parking.
Nancy, we did that when we were raising money, and it was who bid the highest bid to get the.
Oh, I like that.
It was
Yeah.
the.
So we have to keep, we have to
We can.
we have to
discuss-
remember that the access to the dog park is not a road, it's not a path, it's just a maintenance service area, and we've eked in the handicap spots. So if we seriously want to talk about parking, then we seriously have to talk about creating a path to the dog park and a parking area. Because one of Chris's, you know, he deals with this every day, is even the people that can park there, when it's snowy, icy, muddy, wet, it just turns into a quagmire of ruts and other problems. We've had people get stuck there. So we have to remember that the access is kind of it is being thoughtful in terms of handicap, but it's not a public access way. So again, if that's something that's going to be considered, then it has to be seriously thought about the engineering and the development of legitimate access and
So
parking.
Caitlin, there's more. Let's keep going, because I think what we need
Yep, it's good information.
is when we.
yeah, this is the last
Detail.
slide where I put the majority of the comments. It's the what could we do differently? And again, it's parking. It's mostly parking. I didn't include everything, but it's parking, and then it's just a couple of other requests that I think are smaller or more reasonable. You know, they want some shade, they want some sitting areas, they'd love, again, with the water. But again, a lot of these are things we could address and also make, you know, we could ask the membership, like, hey, we'd love to add, if we do, you know, we're going to do a fundraiser to add another bench or what have you, whatever. Or do you have a connection that could get us a discount or something like that? Because there's, you know, they're also asking for community engagement, but at the same time, all these other things that they want cost money too. So something like parking, like Karen said, is not an easy thing to fix. It would take a lot of, it might not even be fixable. If it is, it's going to be a lot of work on everybody's part. But some of these things we might be able to solve on a smaller
So-
basis.
I would, Caitlin, this is wonderful, and I am thrilled that 120 people responded. I just think that's.
Oh, so many.
But I think what we need to do as individuals is take the time to go through this on our own. And
Yeah, so I have I'll send this PowerPoint, and then I took, you should be able to still see this. This is an export of all of the answers, including all of the open text responses. And I think there was only one where someone identified them, one or two where someone identified themselves. So it's supposed to be anonymous, but yeah, so there's a lot in here. So, but
I think it would be really
really
helpful to do a newsletter, as a lot of people are requesting, and maybe give some descriptions of why we can't allow parking close to the gates, or, anything that we can't give them. I think maybe there could be some acknowledgement of it and some explanation as to why it is the way it is.
And
Otherwise, they think we don't care.
Donna, I like that, and I truly liked, did you all catch the comment in there that was about a positive newsletter as opposed to a negative email? Did you all?
Yeah.
I think that is a few words, or that's worth $1 million right there. But
getting to be proactive with their response as opposed to waiting to slap somebody's hand. That way, also then they can't claim they didn't know.
well, but so I think what we need to do first is truly go back over this, and because I'm thinking, they hit us with the parking a whole lot, but there are a lot of good things in there, and there are a lot of easy things to address as well. But there are also some major things that will need to be put in we can't address as a board, I should say. But I think our first thing is to go back through and take the time to look over this and either send our top, Caitlin, I've never done this, but would we send, if we went through it, could we send you our top, what we think are the top 5 things that need to be, how can we utilize this?
Yeah. So that's an option too. I mean, I did try to, you can look at all the comments, but I went through every comment and did kind of a breakdown of how many people complained about what, and then their final comments. So yeah, if you want to put together your top 5, we'll see what overlaps. So typically what we would do is we take all of those answers and we put together a scale, like a grid with 4 sections. And one would be easy to fix and quick fix, easy problem. And then there'd be quick fix, harder problem, harder fix, harder problem. And you would address the things in the top quadrant first, because those are quick fixes that are easy to address, like reminding everybody about access to the app. Yeah, so that'd be like a really quick thing to address easily. And then the bottom right quadrant would be probably parking, where we don't know if we can fix it, but we'll look into it, how we're going to address it. So if you send the top 5, I'll kind of, I can go over them and see, or it doesn't have to be 5, whatever your top issues are, 5 or less, let's say. And then we can see how we're going to address them according to how hard they are to address, and maybe move forward. I will volunteer if you need it, someone to draft a newsletter, because I do that for my beekeeping club already. If that's
I'd
something
like to
you
get
want.
on your beekeeping email list.
Yeah, I just gave a free intro class last week.
Oh, okay. I'm going to have to pay attention. I'm finishing a work project, but do we need to send the 5, or can you, Kathy, do you think she needs?
I mean, if you want to agree with the,
you already have on the
top
grid,
one,
or is there anything different?
Well, I would like to take a look closer at the comments again, but we can go from this if need be. I don't want to draw this out. I don't think we need to make it more than it is, but I think we need to utilize what we have and plan to move forward.
If I may,
like
think-
more benches. Well, the thing is if you're staying with your dog and you're moving with your dog, we don't need more benches. I mean, so even though something may be requested a lot, is that request going against our basic principles? That's my concern. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we're identifying the issues here. We don't have to talk about how we're going to solve them yet. Because the answer might be like, it's the rule, we're not changing it. Like, or that's how it is. Here's why we can't change it in a nicer way. But
Yeah.
some of them will say like, oh, a request for toys. Like, maybe that's something we could do. Maybe we could allot some budget or do a fundraiser to buy some extra of the whistle balls or whatever those are. Whatever it is, but some new tug toys. Most people, I think, bring those in themselves.
Anything that's brought in needs to become a park toy. You can't bring personal toys or a dog's favorite, which
Right.
creates
the stuff
potential
that-
aggression.
the
Yeah,
stuff
but
that's
things, yeah, there's
there-
things.
When it comes, it
The
stays.
stuff that's
basically.
there,
Yeah, if it
people
comes, it
brought
stays. Right.
So
Right.
yeah, so we could have a fundraiser and say like, hey, the club is willing to, with any funds that are, not the club, sorry, the dog park is willing to buy with these funds that are raised an allotment of the balls every year or tug toys or something. You know, maybe that's something that's an easy fix. But I think identifying what you want to talk about and address after you read through everything and then figuring out how we're going to address them, whether
Yeah,
it's an
Kathy-
easy fix or something that's more involved.
Kathy, I think what I heard you were guys give everybody a chance to digest
Yeah.
all this information and read through it and
Yeah. I'll send it now.
a lot of good information. And to
What do you think? You
to
have
Nancy's point,
Have you looked through, I mean, as far as the responses, as far as what we can do with it? what do you think?
Is that the main, Kathy, who are you talking to?
Yes, to you.
Oh, no, I think it's great. I think you got a very good response. I think it's primarily positive, especially this is really the first opportunity people have had to provide this type of information, right? Since the park started. So you have years of people going. I think there's some legitimacy to the parking issue. I don't know if there's a way to increase that or put out a couple spots like that. I don't know, put some more stone there, maybe expand that a little bit. But I think overall it's pretty positive.
Yeah.
I wonder if it would be possible. One of the nice things about filling out a survey as a person that fills out the survey is to kind of hear back a little bit of the results. And I
Mhm.
wonder if there's something on the sooner end before fixing the problems. If we could send out like an email or do like a pretty quick first newsletter, like, hey, we got your feedback. This is what we heard. We're going to start talking like just, and you don't even have to give answers of what you're going to do or can't do. Just, we heard you, we're going to see what we can do and we'll reconnect soon. I just think sometimes a sooner
Yeah.
response to it
Yeah.
is meaningful. It's like, okay, we heard you, we heard what's going on and let's see what we can do to make it better.
I like that. So Karen, is there a place to post that newsletter on the website as well as sending it out to,
yes, on the dog park area, and I was just going to say, I think Nancy's suggestion is good because we do have FAQs for Park and Rec as a whole. But on the dog park section, if we wanted to create some of that information, we can create that. I mean, we don't want to clutter it, but yeah, we can do a link. We could create a newsletter and do a link to it and people could then click on it and print it. So yeah, we can work on that.
You can even put a teaser in, Karen, like, we heard you on that dog survey. We can't wait to see you too. Planning community engagement, for the dog park. Something as a teaser. We don't have to know what we're doing, but
Right.
I think there's some, like Kate said, there's some easy wins, which
There
are
are, yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's incredibly positive information
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's interesting because some of the descriptors they gave, I know exactly who the dogs are. But the fact they're also, really longtime members. And so, yeah, we can do that. And there's a lot of things that we see and observe. So I think trying to sort it out and we can do a SWOT analysis with strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and the correct word would be threats, but we could change that to, something else.
Suggestion.
so Kate,
And,
will you take it, run with it and do a quick newsletter? Like, I love what Kristen said.
Yeah, and I already sent you guys, well, I just sent the email with the 2 attachments, the PowerPoint, and then the full litany of responses. So,
The other thing somebody could do is if they want to craft a article for the newsletter, it reaches township residents, but can also be a way to market to people and stimulate new interest as well. Whether it's about this or anything else.
Has the spring already gone to print?
I'll have to check with Aaron. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where it's at in the process. But we can check.
Does anybody want to do that? A quick little, so Caitlin, do you think you could we morph a newsletter into a township newsletter article as well, do you think?
I don't see why not. So you could also use it as an opportunity for recruitment. One of the recurring themes there in the answers was not enough dogs, or they'd like to see more members. I think that has more to do with this year and like what's fresh in people's minds.
Yeah.
Especially because it's also winter, and the park is closed for a while. So again, like, but you could use it as a, hey, did you know, we just did a survey for the dog park. Did you even know about us? Like, we'd love to have you join. So yeah, I could draft something. How many words?
Yeah.
It's
Interesting because it's a recurring theme in all dog parks. I've been speaking with my colleagues that people go and there's no dogs there at this time or that time, but people will say, well, when are there more dogs there? And it typically flows with exactly what you would think it was: off business hours, weekends, people that are retired or maybe to have odd hours in work or don't work. You might see them there more frequently at daytime times. Dogs, big dogs think little dogs don't go, but they go at a different time. And when the little dogs are there, the big dogs aren't there. So it's things that we see that the general member may not see, which we might be able to put into a little bit of wording for folks as well.
You could even include a couple of the really positive comments. Just
I
a
love
glowing
that.
endorsement.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a really, really good. It's it's really, really good and usable information.
Yeah, really.
So
Really
it's,
awesome.
Draft a positive short newsletter, and then it'll have to go through the township, but you can send it. Send it to.
Yeah, really, I think one of the ones that I find most typical, but also humorous in a way is, how do I know when my membership's up? How do I know, it's a year from when you did it. It's and what we send out is just a courtesy. We don't keep track of it, but it's interesting to me that people don't know, but then there's other people that they're in the door going, my membership's going to expire in a month and I want to take care of it now. So it's always interesting to see that.
Different folks. So
I do think
I admire the people that are on top of it, because I'd be the person that you send that courtesy reminder and I'm like, "Ey."
that would be you. So you're going to do a short, quick newsletter emphasizing this and bringing out some of the things like Nancy said, kind of a teaser kind of thing as well. A positive thing, not necessarily addressing what was in it, right? But
right.
And then I guess if we want to look over things, and if there's anything that any of us as a board member see that we really feel is not represented maybe well in the summary of things, am I making sense?
Yep. Do you want to bring the group back together now, or do you want
to? Then we can get an email going to where we're addressing maybe adding to what's here. I'm having trouble saying what I want to say.
Yeah, I sent the email and I said, here are the 5 that I think need addressing as the top responses. If you have anything you want to add, let us know now, and then at the next meeting we can talk about how we want to categorize them. SWOT is what I would have said too, Karen, but I didn't know.
Yeah, I
That's
couldn't
like
think,
a
I hate to use
particular-
the word threats, but you can replace threats with an appropriate synonym.
I think things we could do better, right? Always room for
Yeah.
improvement, one. And there's
So-
two things I would mention. One is, Kate, mention upcoming orientation dates. Hey, grab your friends, let them know when the orientation date is, because sometimes just people just miss them. And then they
Right.
get busy. So if you give them a couple of dates, then they have it. And the other thing is, and Kathy, this goes to you because I'm always thinking about your thought about marketing. Where do we market or thank our sponsors? Maybe we could put that in there somehow too, even if it's at the bottom in small print. I think if you're a sponsor, when they see their name out, they're more inclined to maybe calling back and say, hey, would you want to up your sponsorship and do something more? We're doing XYZ. I know that's sort of a marketing, I'm not a marketing person, but
Right.
something to think about.
So are we good? Caitlin, are you good if I claim the host back? So we bring the group back together to talk?
Oh, yeah, so of course.
Okay, here we go. Oh, did it work?
I'll stop share.
There we go. There's it. Hello, everybody.
There's Lucy. Hi, Lucy.
Yeah. So that's good. I have a couple quick announcements if it's time. I think everybody may have gotten the email at this point. Right now, we are closed while we get through the storm and until the guys can get through the roads and then over to parks and trails. If you remember, the dog park is in a park. So it's really a safety issue at this point. But as soon as they can get off the roads, well, as soon as it stops snowing and then get everything plowed, we will get it opened right back up. Yep. Okay. Kathy? Hey.
They're kicked out.
Yeah, she lost her.
Oh, Kathy lost the internet. Are you there, Kath?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just put me on speaker.
Yep, she's on speaker. There you go. Has nobody's lost power yet, have they? Everybody's good?
Not yet.
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay.
We usually do lose power. I'm
Okay.
surprised we still have
All
it.
right, we'll stay focused. So the other big announcement is our Caitlin internally has resigned and is moving on. I saw Nancy's head pop up. She will be going down the hall to Code with Sinclair. So we are on the hunt for an actively engaged, motivated person to step into that role. It's quite a big role, a busy role at this point. So I'm going to ask everybody's patience in working with me while I try to navigate both positions for a short period of time.
And Kristen, are you still there? Can you do a quick recap of our meeting as far as our rescue?
Yeah, for
Is
sure.
Kristen still there?
Yep, I'm still here. So a couple days ago, we connected to talk about the potential of having adoption events at the dog park. That was at our last meeting. So we did connect and talked about a lot of different things. Basically, what we'd like to do at this point is to reach out to 3 local rescues that either we've worked with closely or very local rescues, and just start to connect via email on is this something they would be interested? What do we need to do? More kind of like an information gathering so that we can find out if this is something they'd be interested in. Because the last thing we want to do is put in all this work and say, okay, we have this great event, and then be like, no, we're good. We want to find out more about a fact-finding mission and kind of a collaboration between the dog park and then also rescues. So basically, we are going to just get started with drafting a letter. We're looking at Almost Home, WAGs, and Tiny Miracles. Those are 3 rescues. We had a long list of them, but rather we figured we kind of start small. And since we have personal contacts with each of them, that we can reach out and just start kind of the conversation to see if it's something that they would be interested in and what we would need to know on our part to make sure they are safe, successful events. So more on that to come, but if anybody has any thoughts or concerns, let us know.
It's a good group. I'm familiar with all of them. Are you on, Kath?
I am.
Okay, good.
That's it. I'm trying to use a hotspot to see if I can jump back on, but we're you all kind of wound things. We're good to go on the survey, and Caitlin's good to go there.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I'll quit beating that like a dead horse. Sorry. I'm so thrilled. I'm thrilled with that, Caitlin, and I'm so happy we can use that information and move forward with that. But we got some good things going on here. Our next orientation is March 6th, which will be in person. March 6th at 9:15. Can anybody help? One person.
I believe, is anybody looking at their agenda? We're working from home today. Do you have it, Nancy?
So maybe we won't have it March 6th. The thing that's so good about it is we don't have to deal with anything except turning chairs around. But if nobody's available, that could be tough. Can you guys check your schedules and let me know if anybody can make it, even if it's just to set up?
Yes.
Kathy, I can probably help out on that day.
Okay,
That's Kristen.
who was that?
That was, who
Kristen.
was that? Kristen.
Okay.
Kathy, I'm
all right, so-
available.
That was Donna.
Do you need me?
Okay,
I can do it.
So Kristen, Donna, and Warren, did you say you were?
I'll look at my
We just need
schedules.
one
Okay.
person, it's so easy. I'll check back with all three of you guys to see who, so
I apologize. That's my phone with
I'm
calls.
trying to
Based on your
join the
signs.
meeting again, and I can't. So, all right. So, what else? I just feel weird that I can't see you guys. Is anything else? Any other comments? Anything else we need to discuss?
Can I ask one question? Karen, next meeting, can you bring, like, since we did this survey, what our numbers have been over the last couple of years at the dog park? You know, just,
Numbers
like,
for,
the number of people that have joined, and then the number of people who've renewed, like, are they, I'd be curious to see, how many, I should say, just our total numbers, our membership numbers. What did they look like the last?
yeah, we just pulled them all out for the dog park report to the board. So we pulled them all out. Kathy has them for a presentation when that goes to the board, but yeah, we already have them pulled.
Because I'd be curious about that. And I'd also be curious, like, what it costs us to maintain the dog park, right? Because as a supervisor, are we giving enough, in terms of those things? Or do we, I know they're out there like once a week to do maintenance, like, how does that,
Right.
I want to make sure we're doing the right thing.
Right. I'll get to Dave and we'll try to have him break it down.
I mean, it can be like average of, I don't know, I'm making it up, 5 hours a month. I'm making it up, if you add it all
Right.
up. Whatever, just very general. I was just curious.
Okay.
Right. And then I guess,
Anything else?
Yeah, mowing is park mowing. So we mow all the parks, and the dog park just happens to be in the park, just like athletic fields are in the park. But I'll have Dave break out how much staff time we spend at the park and what maintenance we do. And you saw the drainage work, so the bigger projects, and then just
Yeah.
general regular maintenance, just like Kids Castle.
And bigger projects, because the drainage, I think, is one of the issues
Yeah,
it brought up.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think you have all that. You have all,
Take care of that.
yeah. And a lot of that is pulled for the report for the PowerPoint for the board, like you mentioned, Kath.
Wow. Okay. Anything else? Andrew's not here anything else, folks?
Not for me.
Everybody, thank you so much. I think this was a very informative meeting, so thank you.
It's a good meeting.
And do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
That was Caitlin and Deb.
Okay. All right. Meeting adjourned.
All righty. Thank
Okay.
you, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Birthday.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Now I want to know
Thank
if
you.
once I get kicked out, how I get back on.
In the meeting. What's that, Kath?
I want to see if I can get back on
I think you would
once
just,
I get out.
oh, I think what you do is then you just hit the link again and it pops up as in the waiting room.
So do you see me in the waiting room?
No, because the meeting's ended now.
All right. Then did you see me? I mean, 'cause